Hello all. My name is Catarina Leote and I'm from the Institute of Astrophysics and Space Sciences. Today I'm going to present you a project that we have been developing in the last 2 years, a board game about the solar system. This work is being developed by the Science Communication Group of the Institute and also by researchers in planetary sciences also from the Institute. So it all started with a funding opportunity, the public engagement funding scheme of the Europlanet Society. And we wanted to build an outreach tool, and we had to look for opportunities, as in gaps in what would be needed. So after looking at the school curricula, we realized that astronomy subjects are not so well covered in the curricula, at least here in Portugal. And also often teachers lack the proper training in physics and chemistry to really go into detail in these subjects. In addition, it's also not so easy to find resources in the mother language, so in this case, in Portuguese. So we decided to develop something, an outreach tool that would be that would have as a target public children of 6 to 12 years old. We wanted to build something that would increase the general knowledge about the solar system and planetary sciences, something that would also promote an interest for science and for astronomy in particular, something that would encourage curiosity and logical and creative thinking, something that would maybe give us the opportunity of reaching new public, even though the target public was children. And also we wanted to create an accessible and a versatile tool that could be used in multiple contexts, whether in formal or informal. So we decided to create a board game, go for a board game. And here the idea was to not go for the digital, where you have a lot of other stimuli, but instead use social interaction as a way to promote focus and active learning. And also with the board game, we were hoping to reach new publics, such as we have the children, but also we have, for example, other siblings that do not enjoy astronomy, but enjoy games, or even, who knows, grandparents that would be happy to play with their grandchildren. And also by having a board game, it also meant that it was like a low-tech option. So even if you don't have a great access to technology, you can still play the game. And another thing we thought about was that often astronomy requires a certain level of abstract thinking that might be discouraging for some children. So we thought about starting with something a bit more relatable, so animals and their habitats on the planet, which most children will be familiar with, and then take a leap forward and move into planets and moons and what their animals would be. So some imaginary aliens. So using astrobiology as a way to explore the solar system. So based on this concept, we had to define a game mechanics. Here, as we're not experts on game development, we use techniques, models that are already well studied, such as snakes and ladders and Trivial Pursuit and puzzles. And then we had to also design the aliens adapted to the different objects of the solar system. This, of course, had to be tested, and in multiple iterations, we came up with a version that we're happy with. And then we'll go through professional design and illustration, and hopefully soon we'll have a print and play version available on our website. And we want to have this, so initially it will be available in Portuguese and in English, but we want to have it available in as many languages as possible. And we are also looking for additional funding to be able to produce physical copies and then distribute them around the world. So now we have a game that we are happy with. This is the example of it without yet the professional design and illustration. So it's just my drawings yet. But so as we can see, it's a board. You can move around the board using a dice. You collect the ET cards, so little pieces of an ET that you need to put together in a 3-piece puzzle. And then once you have your ET or alien, you need to discover where the alien is from. So which planet or moon in the solar system it is from. And you can gather some information about these objects in the solar system by moving around the board. And also in some cases, you need to answer questions about the solar system to be able to move. And was this a bumpy road? Yes, it definitely was. We all like games, but we're not game experts. So we had defining the game mechanics was, for example, one of the first challenges we had. We fall into the error of trying to make it too complex. On the right, you can see the first version we had. It took me about 10 minutes just to lay all the components on the table to start playing. So it was definitely too complicated. We came to the conclusion that the rules really had to be super simple and they had to be easy for any player to understand. Another challenge came with the designing of the alien. So how accurate versus how creative can you be? Of course, if you think of astrobiology, you will think mostly of microorganisms, but that wouldn't be so fun. So we had to come up with a compromise between having some funny creatures that could be somehow adapted to the planet, but yet not that realistic if we are very strict about it. And another challenge was to create content that is adapted to the target public. We wanted the game to be fun and playable, but also we wanted to be a bit challenging and a bit educational so that the players would learn a bit more. So for example, with the questions, we had to decide how far could we go in terms of complexity. Another difficulty was to define the closed categories to describe the planets and the moons and to relate those characteristics with the aliens. Because nature is quite complex and we have so much diversity just within the solar system that it is difficult to find these clear categories that would be relevant throughout. And of course, COVID also brought additional challenges. The communication between the team members became a bit more complicated. We already had some members in Lisbon and others based in Porto, in another city in Portugal. But even so, it's always easy to be able to knock on somebody's door, even if it's not the full team. So then we really had to rely uniquely on online communication. So that was not so easy. And also, of course, the testing in times of social distancing. We finished our first version of the game in April 2020, so in full confinement. And we had to call then friends and colleagues to be able to test the game in smaller units and not like the way we had planned, which was to test it in schools and in our outreach events. And even though we contacted a lot of people, we had a success rate of responses of about 2/3, but yet that corresponded to about 20 units of families and friends. And this corresponded also to about 100 players. We have some confidence that the game has been moderately well tested. So what's next? We are now working on the professional design and illustration. And we are also looking for translators to other languages. So if you would like to join the project, please let me know. We are also spreading the word here in CAP, and we have already presented the game in some national conferences. And we are also looking for additional funding to be able to print more physical copies of the game. So if you have any additional questions or comments, please let me know. And also if you're interested in translating the game or to your mother language or to promote it or use it among your community, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much.